What's good, everybody? It's CJ. We're back at it again today. Welcome back to my lab. Today I was going to show you guys some various techniques that I use to make my hi-hats sound unique and saucy. Before we do that, I wanted to mention that you can now get your Logic Gang hoodies. The link to cop them is in the description of this video. You can also cop them on YouTube. They should be showing up right underneath this video. So a little bit of shameless promo, but I really think the hoodies came out kind of dope, so go cop yours. We also have t-shirts and hats available. Go check out all the Logic Gang merch. Let's get into this tutorial. I'm going to jump over to my computer. To speed up the process of this tutorial, I already added a loop, an 808, and a kick and a snare, so all we have to do is add the hi-hats. I'll probably do around 3 different variations of the hi-hat to show you the different techniques that I would use to get the bounce that I want for this beat. So let's have a listen to what I got so far. If you're wondering where I got that loop from, it comes out of a pack called Late Night that SAUCY just put on our website, frequency.com. Go check it out. Link in the description as well as in the cards right here. Definitely some crazy loops to work with. All right, so let's go ahead and add a new instance of a software instrument. And now we're going to add an EXS24. If you can't find it under recent, you should be able to find it right here. If you're new to Logic and you don't see this edit button, what you need to do is go up to Logic Pro X, Preferences, Advanced Tools, and make sure all of these guys are checked off. And that will basically ensure that you can use Logic Pro X to its full potential. So now let's go ahead and find a hi-hat that we want to use. Simply drag the hi-hat that you want into the edit window of EXS24. Make sure the pitch is enabled, and you could also turn on one shot. Having pitch enabled basically allows me to play that hi-hat and different pitches. When one shot is enabled, what that would do is basically ensure that the sample will play all the way through, so I don't have to hold the key down if I'm using my keyboard. Not really important for a hi-hat because it's a very short sound, but it's just part of my workflow. Let's go ahead and save this instrument. I always like saving my new instruments, so I'm going to call this hi-hat. Always stay organized, name your tracks so you know what you're working with. Okay, I'm just right-clicking this area here and creating a new empty MIDI region like this, and I'm going to make it 4 bars long. Let's loop that 4-bar section off, and let's just zoom in a little bit so we can see better. If you don't see the piano roll, you can click on this little scissor tool and the piano roll will appear. Now we can start laying down this hi-hat. The first thing I usually do is try to find a pitch of the hi-hat that would match what I have so far. And I just do that by ear. I like that one right there. Let's go ahead and enable our brush tool. Just hold your command button down and drag it across for 2 bars like this. Now these are too loud. I'm going to bring those down. If you can't see the note velocity down below, all you need to do is press this guy right here and then come to note velocity. Now you can see all of the now you can see the note velocity for each one of those MIDI notes. What I like to do next with my hi-hats is select every second one and then drag those down in volume so it gives it more of a swing. Now you can come here, select those, go ahead and hit Alt and just drag them over like this. So this is sort of a slower vibe for this, which I sort of like. So this hi-hat, since I put this hi-hat in a quarter note, it's definitely a slower vibe, but I feel like it matches well. We're gonna try various techniques with faster hi-hats as well. Another thing I like to do to my hi-hats to make them more authentic sounding is using the swing tool right here, bringing it to about 30%. What the swing basically does is add a little bit of a delay before it hits. So these hi-hats aren't really quantized and they sound more human-like. Let's go ahead and incorporate some hi-hat rolls into this. I'm not gonna do many hi-hat rolls, but I figure 1 or 2 would definitely match well. So let's go down to something like a 16th triplet. And we're gonna zoom in here. I know that my snares are always dropping on the 3, so you can count it out. Here's the start of the bar, 1, 2, 3. So basically in the middle right here, And adding a little hi-hat roll right before the snare drops is always a nice addition. Adding triplets to your hi-hats definitely adds some sauce. So let's go with like a slower triplet, maybe an eighth triplet. I always like to listen to it first before I place it. So let's have a listen and see where we could place an eighth note triplet. Right there maybe. So maybe we could do a different pitch now. Let's add one more roll that's really fast, maybe at the end, to emphasize the drop. So we can get rid of this one. Now you can see that they're all on the same volume level, right? Sometimes it's nice to add a little bit of emphasis by having them go from a lower volume to a higher volume like this. Another thing I like to do with hi-hats is actually add an open hat, and the open hat just gives it a whole different vibe. So let's go ahead and add another software instrument, and I already have one in mind that I'm going to use. Let's go ahead and create another MIDI region like this, and let's see where we can place this open hat and what pitch we're going to do it at. That was pretty dope. Let's go ahead and try a different variation for this hi-hat. All right, I'm gonna create a new MIDI region now. Let's drag it out to the 4 bars. And now let's come in and instead of a quarter note, let's do an eighth note. Instead of a quarter note this time, let's do an eighth note just to speed it up a little more. Find a different pitch maybe. Maybe the higher pitch would work too. This time around, I'm not going to use any swing because I want it to sound more trappy, I guess you could say. So I'm just going to go ahead and go like this. Now let's go ahead and incorporate some rolls. And instead of the rolls happening before the snare, I'm going to have them happen on the kick, which is also a nice variation. Let's go ahead and use a 132 note. Instead of it dropping before a snare, I want them to drop on all the kicks. So maybe we'll use it at the very beginning at a lower pitch like this. Select those, and let's also do a variation in the volume like this. Now let's add some lower pitched ones to just emphasize the bounce to this. Use a triplet, maybe a 1/16 triplet, drop it over here. Also make a difference in the note velocity like that. Let's go to an eighth note and let's go ahead and add some more lower pitched ones at a higher velocity. We could always reuse stuff, so let's go ahead and just click and drag that over by holding Alt down. Now I'm going to go ahead and add some more rolls to this, but what I like to do is maybe come over to like a 1/64 triplet and then do like these short bursts like this. We could also have them play at different pitches. Maybe we'll add one more. And also changing the velocity like that. Let's go over to maybe a 1/8 triplet now to close it off. Let's change the velocity like that as well. Let's go ahead and add a open hat to this variation now and see how that sounds. Let's try one more variation of this hi-hat. So instead of using the piano roll this time around, what we're going to use is the keyboard to actually tap in our hi-hat. As you can see, it gives it a whole different vibe by just using your hands on a keyboard. And if you zoom in, you can see that, you know, they're not all dropping on the ones as they're supposed to. There's a little bit of a delay, but again, it gives it more of a human feel, I feel like. So let's go ahead and incorporate the open hat. That'll bring it to another level. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. If you have any questions or suggestions for new tutorials, please use the comment section for that. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you're notified anytime I upload some new content. If you'd like to download the project file for this tutorial, feel free to. I'll put a link in the description as well as in the cards right here. This way you can rewatch this tutorial and follow along, or make your own beat out of the sounds that you heard today. Thanks again for watching this video. My name is CJ, and I'm out for now. Peace.